All right. So we got a good crowd in here. So again, we're going to get started right now. Hello and welcome everybody to again our post lunch on was it day 4? We're on day 4 now of our 60th ASD convention virtual version, the COVID quarantine version. So. Just a couple of housekeeping rules here. Everyone has been muted for the integrity of the video. Dan is going to speak for about 45 minutes, and then we'll reserve about 15 minutes at the end for questions and answers. If at that time you would like to ask a question, I ask that you put it into the chat. So that way we can do it that way. However, if you really want to talk during the Q&A portion, what we can do is you can raise your hand, and there is an icon where you can raise hand, and then we will call on you so that Dan can answer your questions for you. If you run into any technical difficulties, like your sound and video is starting to pixelate on you, you can turn off your video, which will allow you to have better bandwidth when it comes to your audio experience. If you run into terrible problems where you actually can't follow along at all because of your bandwidth issues, rest assured that this is all being recorded, and you will be able to have access to the recording as soon as it gets uploaded later on today. Something else I was asked to announce is that our closing convention ceremony will be tomorrow at 7:45 in room 3, led by our beloved member White Eagle. And and Beverly Rubick will be giving her workshop on Thursday evening, June 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And so if you would like to sign up for that workshop, you can go to the ASD website to sign up for that. So, Dan, that's Arseneau. Is that how you pronounce that? Dan, are you there? Oh, you have totally frozen up on me. Dan? Uh-oh, we've got video connection unstable. So, Dan, as soon as you get back on, you should probably shut off your video feed, even though we would love to see your lovely face. It's apparently causing too much lag on your server. Okay, so let's wait for Dan to get back on. Well, actually, in the meantime, what we will do is I'll complete the introduction. So Dan earned a psychology degrees from McGill University and the University of New Haven. He taught in higher education, is an Army combat veteran, a human resources executive in healthcare, and now works in behavioral health. In addition to his dowsing practice, Dan is a Marconics quantum recalibration practitioner. Whoa, that's pretty cool. And an emotion code practitioner, studies and teaches human design and births labyrinths. His practice focuses on the clearing people and land. For him, that's how he has fun. Dan is presented at the Living
you're breaking up on me.
Okay, just 1 second, Dan. He'll be talking about clearing land and property today. Okay, can you hear me now? All right, Dan. Yeah, Dan, your connection.
Okay. Let's see. Should I go up into the?
Dan, turn off your video. Turn off your video.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you hear? Is it better now? Yeah, that's better. I can hear that's a little better. Oh, still you're
Okay.
you're having connectivity issues.
Yeah, I get started.
Oh, still having connectivity issues. Participant's having trouble receiving my video. I'll turn off my video. Everybody's video should be turned off.
Okay, should I?
No audio detected. All right, so just so everybody is aware that in the New Hampshire, Vermont area,
No one.
we're experiencing severe weather, thunderstorms, and that may be affecting some of our internet connection. Okay, Dan, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, so why don't you get started?
Okay, great. What I'm going to do is break this presentation up into three different parts, three distinct parts. The first part is really clearing yourself. The second is working with elementals and land and whatever and clearing that. And I want to spend a little bit of time about working with elementals and gardens and all that. I have a protocol which I developed. It's in the handout, so I'm not going to read from it. But point, improve on it, integrate what resonates with you. If you can take a couple of things away from this talk, I certainly will. It'll be well worth your while. I've been coming to convention on and off for about 20 years. In the last 10, 15, I've had to learn clearing for self-defense. I worked in a hospital with a nursing home attached, and it was to the point where I had to keep on clearing the thing out 3 times a day. It was, the energy was just that intense for it. This protocol that I developed, be discerning with it. What I won't do is I won't let telluric energy into my own energy field. Some of my shamanistic friends do that. They open up portals and other things. I like to stay out of the energy fields of others when I'm doing the work. The first piece about this, in order to clear land and property and even other people, you need to clear yourself. It's best if you find yourself in a place of neutrality. Because honestly, I have no religion, I have no politics, I have no agenda, and don't have judgment of pretty much anything else. But one of the ways that you can really gain that neutrality is to release judgment of everything and everyone. You don't know what their story or their soul path is. It's a good thing to release expectations about anything. Releasing all attachments to outcomes is another. And I ask that you practice detachment and practice acceptance. Other people's choices are as valid as yours. I like to be a detached observer and a witness rather than an activist. So the other thing is when you're doing dowsing, it's a good idea whenever you have an emotional attachment to something, ego, get somebody else to do the dowsing for you. And I'm not saying don't distrust your dowsing, but generally, if you have some ego and emotion tied up, you might not get accurate answers. So I have a group of circle of folks that I use, the dowsing buddies. The protocol that I've mentioned to you is I work with elementals to co-create with land. And there's many different ways to do this. And this is just one method. If you're in a situation where you have an emotional attachment to something, get out of that. You're looking at raising your vibration, and that's what this is all about. And I'll call it beneficial energy to humans. There's higher energy and lower, and it's not that one is good or bad, but they're just different. I like to not get too wrapped up in trying to label energies, whether they're pans, divas, spirits, entities, lost souls, fragments, whatever. I just call them elementals, and that's how I work with them. And the work that I do is genuine, it's energetic. I can give you the protocol, and I have it in the handout, of what I use, but I don't say the words. I don't need to. I'm giving it to you so you can frame the intent and understand the intent that I'm getting with that. For those of you, one of the things that you'll find in doing this is you'll improve your dowsing skills. And one way that you could do that is learn how to body douse. You know, not being totally dependent on a pendulum or L rods. And you can learn this by simply asking your body, what does yes feel like and what does no feel like? And you can go further down. You can say, what does love feel like? You can imagine a young little child that just comes up to you and says, I love you. Or you can find an individual who is trying to do something negative to you and hurt you. And you can, again, it's dichotomies and discerning that energy. But what you should do is focus in on the intent. Ask for help from the universe, from the elementals. If we don't ask, we may not get the help we need. Okay? We're in a free will zone. We are very, very powerful manifestors. And that's what distinguishes us from other folks in the universe and other beings. So it's important that you hydrate whenever you do energy work. Because we're trying to feel vibration. We're all frequency and vibration. We create an exchange of frequency and vibration. We co-create etheric imprints. And Mother Earth is linked to our spiritual evolution. With the clearing that I do, to be honest with you, elementals can't do it themselves. So think of this as in 3 circles. You're clearing yourself, then you open out the circle, and you're clearing the immediate environment, the space you're in. And third, you're raising your vibration so that you can clear out that external environment. Let's get started with this. Once I go onto a piece of property and I connect my intent to clear and cleanse the property, I ask and secure permission from the caretaker of the land or the guardian. And this is really, I don't want to be talking to dueling elementals. I do a baseline where I look on, am I welcome on the property? Am I connected to whoever that caretaker is? I do a baseline in types of looking at the vitality of the land. Is it high or low? And, a 1 to 10 scale. It's just nothing magical about that. And you ask if the land is happy and balanced and get the answer, the level of vitality of the person who's asking this clearing for you. Is there any danger to me of doing this? Occasionally, I've been in situations where, there are forces there that might attack you. Most of the time, people ask if I advertise this work, and I say no. Most of the time, it's an individual who will find a handout that I have or find a business card at an opportune moment where they're at wit's end, they're ready to sell a house, get out of there because it's just not cleared. And that's why. So I can do this remotely and do it remotely. It doesn't matter where you're in the same room or not. But say hi to the elementals and the spirits. Energetically connect with them. Acknowledge their own intelligence and vibration. The air, water, wind, rain, sun, ether, all the vitality and consciousness in their own right. Energetic memory is absorbed by the land. And whenever we put that all of a sudden you're in a situation where something negative happens on the property. It might be a murder, a rape, somebody's hurt very badly. And that energy is imprinted on the land. The elementals, quite frankly, can't clear it themselves. We have to. And nature holds on to that non-beneficial energy, sometimes at a cost to them and to us. They don't have the tools to transmute it, but we do. Also acknowledge they're being manipulated, and ask them to, for protection. You start out by doing a can I, may I, should I, and ask very, very specific questions. I have an outline that is in the handout, and it's like a game of 20 questions. Short, simple answers, yes, no, either or, 1 through 10, because everything is unique in vibration, and each has unique properties. Crystals, essences, gemstones, whatever. And you're trying to balance and neutralize these vibrations. What I like to do is when I'm doing work, I do it remote to begin with. I ask for a map of the property. And this can be a paper and pencil, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And then I'll ask for a schematic of, in effect, the house itself, where the rooms are. And I like to do this work remotely, basically to get an idea what I'm riding up to. The first thing I'm going to talk about is entities and spirits, non-incarnate types. I group them, I don't label them. They can be ghosts, they could be local to the land, come on to the land, broken spirits, soul fragments, lower souls, spiritual units, could even be demons. And there are beings that feed on anger and negativity. There could be interdimensionals, it could be aliens. And a lot of times what they're doing is they're acting out, almost being like in a time loop. And I find that most of these discarnates are just really fearful. They're not really dangerous. And I ask, are there any non-beneficial entities on this plane or other spirits not on this plane that are non-beneficial to humans, plants, and animals and other life? And I basically ask them, draw them to me. And then what I'll do is I'll tell them, know what I'm doing is in the name of universal love that remains with all of us. I call upon the appropriate spirit guides to escort and return any non-beneficial energies or other spirits to the best place that they need to go for their highest good. And naturally, if I'm walking around, I might be on a piece of property, I might find a half a dozen of them. Again, most of them are not really dangerous. I've had one or two. I hear other presenters tell stories about how they get mixed up with all this dark energy. What will happen is when I feel that energy come toward me, I just sort of take a deep breath and just say, is that all you got? Look, I don't have time for this. You're going to light. It's very important when I clear these spirits that I want them escorted back to wherever they need to go, the best place that they need. If you don't give them escort, they will jump from one person to the next. That's why people pick this stuff up in nursing homes a lot, in bars, churches, other different places. Now, once you've done this, then what will happen is I notice that I attract others that feel that vibration and want to go to light. And so I'll do the same process. I'll clear them out. A third thing that will happen is I'll check to see if there are any entities or spirits that are hiding from me on the property that don't want to go to light. They'll go too. And the last thing is I'll look and I'll find if there are any entities, even over the past couple of years or 2 years, that come onto the property at different times but aren't physically here now. You may find out that These are, I had one house that I cleared where they were getting company at 3 in the morning. And it turns out they were on a ley line, a ghost highway. And what had happened is the people in the home would be woken up at 3 in the morning with all this ruckus. And they're coming in, just on that ley line with it. The second thing I want to go into is thought forms, because once you clear out entities, you're going to be in pretty good shape. That you're not going to see a lot more of those coming on. Thought forms are a whole different story. These are trapped thoughts, usually traumatic. They could be fearful, anger, and they're infusing the land with memory. Again, it's death, murder, torture, whatever. You ask if there are any non-beneficial thought forms to humans, plants, and animals, or other life forms in this property. You command them to come to you. And what I do is I use a thought form frequency to have the frequency of that energy scrambled. And then transform it into unconditionally, universal love. And just make sure that you don't have the negative energy. They can be emotions because we generate and amplify energy and we receive it and send it out, like a cell phone, actually. And the earth, like humans, have cellular memory and they're holding on to it. The third thing that I look for is I look for underground water veins. And this is where map dowsing can really be helpful. Again, if you're looking for, if you don't know how to map dowse, I think Leroy Bull is doing a seminar tomorrow, and he's a good person to learn from. What I'll do is I'll find the underground water veins, and underground water veins are not necessarily a problem per se, but when you have a vein and it's on top of other energy lines like banker lines, people are going to get sick. And the Germans know this, and they've done a lot with that. I don't like to move water veins, and I'll only do that as a last resort. I can usually take the negativity out of that aspect. And I do that by visualizing a prism thought form. And these are basically rainbow colors that will scramble the energy leading into the building and unscramble it back going out again. You can also have land which is wounded, if you want, by mining, by tunnels, by railroad tracks, buried gas and electrical lines. There are a lot of ways to mitigate this, and one of them is literally earth acupuncture. And you can either use stakes or I use rebar. The other thing to look for is when you're getting with underground water, are there any water domes on the property? And check for them. A water dome is a great place to put a labyrinth or a medicine wheel. It is not great to be under a house. If you have one under your house, I have no solutions for you. You have my compassion with that. Again, digging into earth energies, geopathic stress, walk the perimeter. I use L-rods, and I'm looking for vortices, energy lines, power pole, ground loops, and it's like stray voltage. What you can often do is you can see that when you're walking on a property and you notice that there are cracks in the pavement, tree is dying, a bush is disfigured. That gives you an indication that there might be a energy line. Now, the energy lines that I see can be banker grids, which are generally 30 by 30. They're the most problematic I found. I measure the severity of each of them, and I try to mitigate them with prism thought forms, but look at them at both ends of a line and map them out. You'll notice that beneficial energy lines, people in livestock and most vegetables really like that positive energy. The non-beneficial energy, call it negative for a better word, attracts cats, insects, moles, turtles, various type of medicinals. It's also a great place for composting. Uh, a thing that I do with houses is I check to see if there are any portals in the house. Usually I'll find them in a guest bedroom because nobody wants to sleep there. I won't take a portal and try and close it because I don't believe in doing that. What I generally get permission, though, is to take it and move it outside of the house. I was doing the house a clearing a short time ago, and they were getting woken up, creepy energy. They're ready to sell the house, but if you can move that portal to the outside, I won't. There's a lot of EMF is a real problem, and it's getting worse and worse. Your best defense for EMF is just get out of its way. There are things that you can do with, especially magnets are very helpful. Keep electric devices away from you. Move the clock radio at least 3 feet away, from your head, preferably 6. You may even get up in the morning on time by not hitting the snooze button. But magnets are incredibly helpful for that. The other thing you can use, and people have had a lot of success with, is orgone discs in pyramids. I wish I had the camera and I could show you some of these. Another piece that I want to get into very briefly is non-beneficial energy cords. And you know who these people are. They're attaching these etheric energy cords, and they don't have to be reptilians to do it. They're trying to suck your life force energy out. But I cut the cords and then burn them back like a fuse being ignited. But those are non-beneficial. There are also trapped emotions, and this is residual imprinted emotional energy. They could be curses, they could be spells in general. There could be blockages, and this is where a lot of things like emotion code can come in handy in terms of clearing yourself. And emotion code is basically Brad Nelson's work, and he was at convention about 4 or 5 years ago, I'm guessing. You do not have to take the course and spend $1,000. You can read the book. They use a magnet as a prop for that, and it's a prop. It's not necessary. You can do that by manifesting. A couple other things that I would look for just very briefly, and I'll close up on the topic. Whether there's could be some toxic materials, it's not man-made. It could be radon. It could be people who come on and off to the land. But in any case, I like to change the energy. And now we're going to get to the fun stuff and working with nature, spirits, and elementals. Generally, it's a good idea. You can you work with the elementals by meditating with them, have a groundbreaking ceremony for them. And aside from asking the elementals for help with garden, because I do that all the time, and it's incredibly good. It takes you about 3 to 5 years to transform a property with a. But it's so important to ask the elementals what they want. And this is sometimes we forget to do that. Do they want a labyrinth? Do they want a medicine wheel? Do they want crystals? Do they want temples? Do they want orgone? Make them an offer also, and this is symbolic, of something which is valuable to you. Like, I'm a chocolate eater, and the elementals I work with love chocolate. And it's not that they like chocolate, but it's more that it's something that I value, and it's important. If you want to work with elementals, one of the best go-to resources you can have, and it's in the handout, is Paralandra. the workbook number 2, and that's by Michelle Smallwright. If you're interested in doing spiritual gardening, and that's what I do, in effect, it's biodynamics, that is going to be so useful and helpful to you. You don't know, they'll give you a lot of the questions to ask. You can get blank dowsing charts and populate them with what types of vegetables, what types of seeds to use. In the biodynamics, you're also planting and harvesting by moon cycles. And I have the calendar that's put out by Stella Natural. It's in the handouts. But it's practical advice for gardeners and people who grow vegetables with that. But anyway, that the Steiner stuff is also really helpful. But you can ask the land what it wants. Do they want greenhouse, raised beds? You can ask the soil, just the vitality of it. What type of, does it need more minerals? Does it need various types of fertilizer? Create your own charts with that. You can also ask what plants want to be in the garden, want to be on your property, even the direction to plant them in. And this may get a little extreme for some people. You can also manifest as a part of this to attract the critters and the bugs that are basically going to be helpful for you. What you're really doing is you're working with the elementals to create a sacred space, play soothing music.
We just lost Dan's audio. I'm not detecting any problems with his.
Dan's vitality go up from a
okay
4
Dan?
to an 8.
Dan, don't interrupt
like
you.
Hello?
We lost your audio there
Okay.
for a minute. Are you there?
Oh, okay.
All right. Are you there? Okay. All right. Another minute. Those thunderstorms might be coming by his place right now. Got a decent crowd in here today, too. Okay. All right. Still no Dan. Let's see if I can get a hold of Dan. Sorry about this, folks. I'm trying to get a hold of him through text right now. No, he's that's a landline. Okay, so I'll have to call him. Hello, Dan?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, all right. We lost your audio.
Okay, what would you like me to do?
Well, I've got you on speaker,
Okay, great.
and people can hear you, I think.
Okay, yeah, and I'm just right at the point where it's probably best that I just take questions.
Okay, all right, excellent. Okay, so this will, yep. So this is what we're going to be doing.
Okay.
Low tech solution. Okay, so as far as question, so we're going to take the questions through the chat, and a first question we have here was the name of the book where you don't have to spend thousands of dollars for the workshop. That was the emotion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's Emotion Code.
Right.
It's in the handout, and it's the author is Brad Nelson.
Yes.
It's basically what you're doing with this is you're clearing out things which might be not only in your energy field now, but it could be lineage things.
Mm-hmm.
Something, a trauma that occurred a couple generations ago. And if you read the book, you can also get his CD, which when his presentation in Dow's, and I think it's about 4 or 5 years ago. That's helpful to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Another person at convention who does a lot of work with this is Gail West, and she's taking Emotion Code like to another level. It's really good. But it's that the name of the book is Emotion Code.
Yep. I actually happen to have a copy, so I'm showing everybody at home.
Yeah, it's and what you can do is you do this by he does it by muscle testing. I do it with a pendulum. But if you read the book, it'll make a lot of sense in terms of it's a very useful tool to work with other people to help them clear out very in an expedited amount of time.
Excellent. So the next question was from Mary, and she is asking, please speak more about creating sacred space.
Okay. Creating sacred space is simply what I do is I go onto a piece of property, I meditate. I want to do things that the land wants. Like a lot of times, you might get that the land wants you to put a particular shape of a garden, whether it's triangles or rectangles. One person at convention is Aaron Singleton. He does a lot of work with the biomorphic symbols. And the lesson with this is shapes have frequency and vibration, and they have power. But what you need to do is by creating a sacred space is simply meditating on the land, listening to what the elementals want, and just raise your vibration. And eventually, you'll create a vortex with it. But that's how I look at creating sacred space. There are a lot of different traditions that go into this. The shamanistic traditions are all valid. But that's what I do when I want to create space. I do it energetically.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Another question we have is kindly describe what it and your work with shieldite and golden armor.
Hear you, Bill.
I'm sorry. Working with shieldite and golden armor essence.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Okay. It says kindly describe your work regarding shieldite and golden armor essence.
Oh. Hey, can you repeat those last two words again? It was a little garbled.
I'm sorry. Let's see. Golden armor essence.
To be honest, I know that there are traditions that people have beliefs that of them. I know some people go into, various types of armor, symbolic energy, but I don't work with that directly, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm not saying it isn't valid. It's just something that never interests me, so I don't have really any good information for you on that.
Okay, that's fine. Another question from RC. Those living next to high power lines, what would you recommend they do to help the land and the life forms on it?
Okay, I hope I got the right question for this. What you can do is, and you see the outline that I've sort of gone over very quickly, is you can start releasing a lot of the negativity that either comes onto the land or that humans have placed on it. That's the first step in raising vibration with it. And then you can come back and repeat that, periodically. I guess, did I answer the question?
I'm not. It sounded like you answered the question. Okay. Next question is, what do you do to change or shift natural springs that flood the front walkway?
Could you repeat that one more time? What can I do to
shift or change natural springs?
Spring?
Yeah, springs that flood your walkway.
To be honest with you, I have never diverted a water feed, and I never will. I just believe that there are other answers for that. But when you're doing this, you can do it with various types of earth acupuncture by using rods. I know folks who divert streams so that they can repopulate a well. If you do this, just make sure you're not interfering with somebody else's water and that you get permission to do it. I always ask permission for everything I get. If you get a no, don't do it. It's basically, it's a form of, I guess you could say, earth acupuncture would be the best way to do that. Or I know that people can put a rod in the dirt and then sort of tap it like with a hammer and shift water in a vein like that.
Okay. All right. So, okay, here's another question from Alberto, and he asks, do you stay long enough? It says, does stay long enough in intentional shield or neutralization if you do not place an actual material programmed element like a symbol, rod, or specific crystal, clearing space, etc., to secure and fix healing work? So I think we're talking about the tools now. How long does it take to, when you're putting the tool in place, how long does it take for it to work?
When we're dealing with the earth acupuncture, generally you're going to be asking at least two different questions. And one of them is, you're going to ask what material to use. In my case, rebar, it could be a wood stake. You're going to ask where you're going to put that. You're also going to ask how long it should be in. It could be 10 minutes or it wants to be there permanently. When you're putting rebar in somebody's lawn, do make sure that you sort of bang it down about 4 inches below the soil. Otherwise, somebody's going to run over it with their lawnmower, and that's not going to be a pretty sight.
Oh, jeez.
The earth acupuncture is probably the one way that I know to deal with either moving or diverting a stream.
Okay. Awesome. Okay.
I can barely hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's because I've got my I got you on speaker, and I'm putting the speaker up next to the computer while I'm talking to you.
Okay.
So that way people at home can hear you. Okay. I'm not seeing any more questions coming in.
Okay.
Oh, wait a second. Here we go. Wait a second. Wait a second. How do you get emerald ash borers to leave?
How do I get minerals?
No, emerald ash borers. I assume this is a form of pest.
Oh. Yeah, with the emerald ash borer, that's that little bug that's infesting ash trees.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know very much about them, other than they're invasive.
Mm-hmm.
And that they seem to like to be attracted to purple.
Purple.
What I asked the land to do is to basically bring on beneficial insects that will go after the non-beneficial ones. If you have a spider in your garden, don't kill it. That's phenomenal.
Mm.
But transforming the land will take 3 to 5 years to do this. It takes that long because you're changing the energy of it. And it's never too late to start, even if you've already planted.
Awesome. Excellent information there.
Yeah. But in any case, what I've done is in the handout, there's a nice list of resources that I think are really go-to things that I find really, anything by Michelle Small, right, is fantastic. The Carolina Garb books. You can work with putting devices on the property, like a lot of the work that Slim Sperling did with harmonizers are very valid. But when I'm clearing something out, whether it's EMF or whatever, I ask the land and I ask the property what it wants to mitigate. I don't make the assumption that I know what's best for that land, because that could be presumptuous. And you never know. They may want a shape, they may want a thought form, they may want magnets. Magnets are great for dissipating EMF.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Someone asked where the handouts are, and they're at the top of the chat. Maria is asking, the chiggers on our property bite the heck out of us every time we go outside. How do we get them to go away or stop biting us?
What is specifically what's on the property that's doing that?
Chiggers.
Chiggers. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, what I would start using thought forms and with intent for these particular types of insects to just ward them off the property. It's thought forms that are probably going to be the best. Keep in mind that you're not going to get this by doing this when you're doing the manifesting and you're doing this whole process. It's going to take time. It needs to be reinforced. And I'll give you an example of just animals with it. I make a deal with the deer on my property, and the deal is you only get to eat 25% of my garden. You got to leave me the rest of it. And that's worked out real well. Like 2 years ago, I did that, and the deer didn't touch anything on it. I might have been a little bit too strong with that. But I am not successful getting rid of woodchucks. They don't seem to be effective. I know some folks were doing some work with radionics, but generally you can work with the elementals, you work with the critters that come onto your property, and just make a deal with it. I know somebody who basically the deal is, dear, you leave my garden alone, and I'll feed you in the wintertime. And that works for her really well. Okay, are you still there, Bill?
Yeah, I'm still here. Somebody mentioned that woodchucks do not like used kitty litter either. Well, that makes sense because of the cat urine.
Oh, yeah. I know people who use cat or even human urine outside of properties because it'll repel the deer. That could be very valid.
Yeah.
I tend to focus on things where in my neck of the woods, ticks are not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that it's a real problem for people getting diagnosed with Lyme disease and other different things like that. The most important thing you can do is just you're all dowsers. Douse it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it how effective is what I'm doing on a 1 to 10 scale? Is there something else that I should be doing? It's always a good idea to ask the universe for help with that. And I don't ask for specific. I'll ask the universe for, this is the outcome that I want. Show me how to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And don't be presumptive that you know the answer to that.
Yeah, I something else I read recently too that is very effective is human hair. For a lot of us who are getting home haircuts, you put the hair outside and it repels the deer.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I've heard the same thing.
I've been putting my hair clippings into my front bushes because the deer would always come and trim the bushes a little too much. And since I started doing that, the deer have not come by.
I'm not surprised. Hair, urine, it can be helpful with that. But I find that just working, the deer with thought forms I can work with, but the woodchucks, for some reason, they don't react well to it.
That's awesome. Well, I think that's all we have as far as questions are concerned. Oh, wait a second. Effective.
I just hope that that a lot of this did record.
Yes. Well, yes, that is recording. At least we're recording the creative use of technology.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can go find the chat room.
Okay, yeah, the chat room is room 2.
Yep.
Somebody asked if you wouldn't mind if you wanted to put this presentation on a video that you do at home and then post it. People have indicated that they would love to see it.
Oh, okay, great. The other thing that what I would recommend also, and because it was a little bit more of a time, get the recording I did last year's Dowsers, because that was a full hour and a half, and the audio I know is really in good tape for it. I've abbreviated this presentation, just to fit in with the time constraints. But
yes,
and last year's audio is I think it was a good presentation.
Yes.
Anyway, thanks for your help. I appreciate it.
Okay, and no problem. And also, Lisa posted your keynote speech here as well, so people can download that as well.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. I'll see you around.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dan.
Bye.
All righty. Here we go. That's our low-tech solution to a slow internet connection. Oh, there it goes. Lisa just posted the link to Dan's speech from last year. So it's basically the same speech he gave today, but with better audio. So that's going to be great. And thank you everybody for coming today. So let's check the schedule real quick here. So at 2:15 in this room, Robin Coventry is going to be here. And then at 3:30, still in room 3 here, we're going to have Lori Spanga. And then tonight, also in this room, is going to be our keynote speaker at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope you all can join us for that. And in the meantime, everyone have a wonderful time. And so in order to cut off the recording, we have to end the meeting, and then everyone can come back on. So thank you so much, people, and thank you for your patience. And technology is what it is.